So here's part two of The Last of Us. What if final? And I figured to myself, rather than it trying to really be like a Telltale or Detroit Becoming Human, whatever choices you make game, which I do feel like it would be proper, but kind of do it more in a what if rewritten scenario, if you will, and see how that works. And this will be considered part two and a final. And I said, okay, I think for the final it would make sense to be like a DLC of sorts, like a DLC of the game. And with this DLC, I can see, Ellie's girlfriend, Joel's daughter, and the little boy being considered a villainous group at this time. Because a lot of, from the last one, we killed a bit of people off. And I left our villainous group back down in Texas, where they traveled to at Tommy's old house. So with our group, and they would be called the Fallen. I figured that it would be a proper title for them. It would be them. They're heavily skilled, so they don't need a large group because it's just them. I can see them being wanted posters of them, rewards posted up, like some type of wanted posters, posted up about them, along with like rewards as well. So I can definitely see that being a thing for this what if. And within this what if, there's like a new, since we're like so many years in now to the new world after the breakout, and I would say we're at least now 30 years in, which would make sense in this, which would definitely make sense if you ask me. I think that around this time we would have the beginnings of a new laws, new type of people to patrol outposts, the streets, do runs, kind of like the new SWAT government police force, if you will, but in the apocalypse. And I can see us playing as a new character, main antagonist for this DLC. And I can see around this time, there really being not any monsters, any clickers, because they all pretty much died down from starvation. People gotten smarter, and society has really evolved to where there's a lot of places like Jackson built. There's a lot of secure places like places where Abby was at, and then some places that are highly structured as well, and people just really built within this new world. A lot of people are using melee weapons because I want it to be grounded in reality, to where there's no more guns, there's nobody to manufacture bullets anymore. So a lot of people using melee weapons like knives, bows, swords, machetes, and have their armies, train like that and making their own armor. There's also secure trading outposts as well. So I can definitely see that being part of this DLC within this what if. And I can see us playing as a new character who works for the New World Order government SWAT team. And from this, a lot of our game will be focusing on traveling a lot with the group and finding clues to their whereabouts, stumbling upon older places that we have heard about, to where some places, will be callbacks like, oh man, I remember going to this place, or I remember going to this place, and also running into, like smaller groups or medium groups, and maybe even a couple, and I say very few couple, big groups of communities that were attacked by our villainous group, and talk to very few survivors who were left. And as we go to these sites, again, we're stumbling on or trying to find some clues, and a lot of the bigger places that they used to hold up at will give us some sort of signs, clues to, as we're learning to where their whereabouts are. As we proceed to move on, our group who is trying to stop our villainous group, we're learning a bit about them until they stumble onto the place that Joel, with the place where we first met Joel at, and after 20 years of the breakout. And we're going to leave that place, untouched. And I can see us talking to one of the high officials like, yeah, man, I remember Joel. He was one of our high-ranking, or one of our best field leaders, and has like file on him. And so we're learning more and more about our enemy. I can see us stumbling onto the old factory dam warehouse thing that was a part of Jackson, where we first met Tommy at after and during the apocalypse. And I can see us going back there and finding files on a lot of the residents, especially Tommy, right? Also with Ellie and a lot of others. I feel like once we learn that, again, we take a trip down to Texas, and again, we're stumbling on, some other smaller and medium-sized groups who got attacked, and who and some who survived the onslaught and things that came about. And as we proceed to move along, we get down to Texas. We get down to Joel's place, and we have our 10 soldiers all lined up with guns that they have held onto for many years, and with 20 rounds in a cartridge. Joel's group, was unaware of this. They're still inside the house. And I wanted to have the shootout be I don't know how many of you guys have seen the movie, The Devil's Rejects. You guys remember the ending where they got shot at? Yeah. Or like the shootout like at the Sawyer house in Texas Chainsaw. Something similar to that. So our soldiers start shooting into the house, and our last group that we grew up with, so to speak, and played as, with Joel, Ellie's girlfriend, Joel's daughter, and the boy. You know, they're getting shot. They're getting riddled, you know, with bullets. And Joel's daughter is killed. The boy is dead. Joel and Ellie's girlfriend are both are heavily injured, but still barely breathing from the bullet wounds. Our foot soldiers go into the house. They go to Ellie's girlfriend, put a bullet in her head, double tap. And then they go to Joel. And we have Joel also getting killed and double tapped to the head. From there, we get a cut scene of a couple months later, and we see where one of the the government SWAT detective law of the New World Order force bases, and will be located in Washington, D.C. And also in front of the gate, we have Joel's daughter, the boy, and Ellie's girlfriend's heads that are on spikes. And as we pan out more into the streets and pan out and travel around a lot of the places that, we have been to throughout the games within this rewritten What If, we see a lot of posters of the heads that were on spikes from Joel's group as a warning sign to anybody upcoming that tries to disrupt the new world and have this villainous group been made an example out of within the world of the apocalypse. I figured that would only be very fitting and how this, would most certainly end. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.